Welcome back, friends, to the channel. So I wanted to give a quick update before we launch into our rant, how the abstaining from alcohol is going over the summer. And I have to say that it's no problem. We've been out to eat a couple times. Mrs. W has joined me, not that she really drank much anyway. And we were at a barbecue last night with some friends down the road, and they had a cooler full of beer there. It was just a non-issue. I grabbed myself a sparkling water. And that was it. So it's been going good. How long has it been? I'm not sure exactly, but I'd say a couple weeks. And I'm looking forward to it. We were talking about maybe even going down. We have this special bakery in town that does pizza only like one time a week. And one of our favorite things to do was to go down there. They have this wood-fired oven, and we get a really nice bottle of wine and do that. And we're going to go down there, I think, and do that. But we're not going to have soda. And for all you soda Nazis, you know what? Lighten up. It's not like I drink soda all the time. It's something that I look forward to. There's nothing wrong with having a Coke from time to time. I agree. Sometimes I feel like people are just so literal. Just like yesterday, I got a bunch of comments and private messages. Oh, are you doing okay? I saw you drinking a beer in yesterday's video. It wasn't a beer. I mean, this may be a news flash to some of you, but beer is not the only thing that comes in aluminum cans. We're drinking sparkling water. I mean, you can clearly see it. I've got the case in the front of the bucket, so give me strength. Give me strength. All right. So today's rant, I want to talk a little bit about families. I guess how this whole thing came about was I was going through the comments this morning on the Memorial Day video, and folks are saying, oh, wow, how unusual it is to see a family together, just a normal family enjoying their time. And, oh, that's just not the norm. And how sad that families are not like that anymore. You know what? That's not true. That's not true at all. That is the norm. This is the norm. I'll tell you what, yesterday, I was just thinking about this morning. We were as I said, at our friend's barbecue, and here we have 4 or 5 families there with all sorts of kids. Most of the families have 2. Some of the families had 3, 4, and 5 kids, and the kids are playing around together. And we have normal people doing normal things, normal family, a man and a woman. No, still together, still loving one another, going through life, enjoying life, and just living. I mean, it's not unusual. I know. I guess, so let's go to this. So Mrs. W and I were driving down to this picnic yesterday, and we were talking about that. We were talking about why people enjoy watching these videos, and that's just something simple of a family working together. And I told her, I said, because it's not available anywhere. And I asked her the question, and you think about this too. If you were to go watch a movie or anything that's been made on television for the last, 30, 40, 50 years, tell me where you can go and watch something that is demonstrating, I mean, apart from the tiny outliers, but I'm talking about the big picture, where you can watch a functioning family, a normal family together without teen angst, without sexual perversions, without anger, fear, problems, drama. Tell me where you can go and turn on that cable television and see something like that. You're going to be thinking a long time because it doesn't exist. So you have to ask yourself, why is that? Why is it that everything that is being pumped into our house and everything that we rent and everything on Netflix and all that is all about deviancy? And it's actually opposed to the fact. It's actually just the opposite of what we're showing in the Memorial video. So why is that? Why is that? And so I was asking Miss W, and I said, you tell me, you grew up with television, and I grew up with television. Give me one example of something that was actually, in our generation, that was actually uplifting and of a positive note. And she's thinking for a while, and she's like, the Cosbys. The Cosbys were a positive influence. And I said, no, they weren't. They absolutely were not. What you had with the Cosbys, and I grew up with it, is you had a dominant female character, the mother, who was bossy, who was always in charge. And then you had her husband, Bill Cosby, that was always sneaking and lying, and he was always buying stuff and hiding things, and he was always living under the tyranny of this overpowering, dominant woman. And that is, I mean, when you think of the Cosbys, you think, oh yeah, that was a very wholesome show, but it wasn't. And so when you start looking at it from that perspective, look at all of the male characters from Ted Bundy and on, and you have these overpowering, dominant women, and then it just gets worse and worse and worse. Jack wanted me to take him to the last Marvel movie, whatever it is. So we went down. I don't remember the name of it. I'm not really into that. But he wanted to go, so I took him down there and we watched it. And it was just so interesting to me. After we got out of there, we talked about it, because that right there, that movie is propaganda. If I have to watch another movie where a 110-pound woman is flipping around and doing karate kicks and punching and hitting and taking on and beating all these guys, this girl power thing, I am so over it. I can't even stand it. I'm almost like I've got these like girl power radars now, and I think I'm not alone. I mean, there was this scene at the end of it where the villain's coming in, and it's the final epic battle, and all of the guys are all laying on the ground, have been defeated by this, and there's nothing but all of these women. And then a woman comes down from the sky, and she, you know, and they're all powerful. Like, it's just, I can't stand it. It's so offensive. And, you know, so Mrs. W and I were talking about this, and, you know, and she kind of bought into this a little bit as well. You know, we were talking about the sweet loaf. You know, she's like, well, you know, shouldn't she have every opportunity, and, you know, shouldn't she be able to have everything, be able to do everything that a man should be able to do? I said, absolutely. I'm not going to raise her any different than I would raise Jack. She's going to be raised to work in the shop with me. She's going to be doing dirt biking from the time she's tiny. Of course, I'm going to give her every opportunity. I'm not saying that I'm going to give preferential treatment to my son over my daughter. However, with this notion, and, you know, what kind of where Mrs. W was coming from was that the pinnacle or the ideal is for her to go and to get an advanced degree, and Mrs. W says, well, yeah, she could be a CFO, she could be CEO of a company. Well, of course she could. I'm not saying that she isn't. Of course she would be able to do that. What I'm questioning is, why is that held up as the standard? Why should that be the ultimate goal? Because I don't think that it is. And this, all of this stuff, that there's no difference between men and women, and in all, it is all a myth, and it's all a lie. I don't, just because a woman doesn't make the decision to go into a competitive field, get a law degree, or become a CEO of this great company, or a big advertising executive, doesn't mean that she has failed in life. I would say just the opposite. I would say, I would say that, here's the example I'll give, and this happens all the time. So we live in an area that's very progressive. And beings we're kind of, you know, we've got little kids. We started our family later in life. It's a little bit unusual, I think, maybe around here. And so we were out just the other night, and I see this all the time. And we're sitting together, and we always enjoy one another, and we're laughing and having fun at the park, or we're laughing and having fun at the restaurant or the pizza parlor, whatever. I see these women that walk by that are in their mid-40s or so, and they will look at it. It's hard to explain the look that we get. But when they see the sweet loaf, and they see this intact family that is enjoying one another, that's enjoying life, you just see this, almost this gloom of despair and regret. It just flashes over their face. I see it all the time. And I wonder if, I think I know where it comes from. I think where it comes from is, I think that these poor women have bought into this nonsense, that the only thing that's going to make them relevant, or the only thing that's really going to give them a sense of accomplishment and happiness, is to go into a male-dominated fields and try to compete and try to become some sort of a career woman. And so that they did this, and now they're in their 40s, and their best years, the years when they were the most fertile, the years when they should have probably started a family, are now gone, and it's lost to them. And when they see families together with these children, I see it all the time. I see that regret for the decisions that they made, and it's been lost to them, and it's really, really sad. And here we go. That's what has, in my opinion, what started the whole dog mom movement. We have a whole bunch of friends like that I think that, I don't know that they would ever admit it. Maybe they maybe to their best friends, but they won't admit that maybe they made a mistake, and maybe that public relations job, or that whatever that they did, or that all those years in college and advanced degree, how important is it now when they're in their 40s and their 50s and they're unmarried, and they're barren, and they have no prospects of ever having a family? And so they turn to the dogs, get to the dog mom thing. And so it's really kind of sad. So this love that God has put in them, this nurturing instinct, has got to find an outlet, and no longer do they have the ability to focus that on children and their families the way that they were designed. And so it's turned on, it's perverted, and it's turned onto these animals. I mean, it's crazy. Some of the dog people in this this area are nuts. And there's actually stores now where you can buy like baby clothing and gourmet food and things for your dogs, and people just going in. Just going in, going in. And I mean, I'm treading on, I'm going to be treading on toes here, and I'm not saying just because you have a dog that means you're a crazy dog woman. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm ranting. I'm ranting. I had in my mind all of this eloquent argument that I wanted to make, and now I can't seem to think about it. But here we'll close with this. Here's the thing: is that I have always kind of understood this, and it's always been kind of the center point of the channel, as kind of an alternative. Yes, you can't go and see normal people on television. You can't go see normal people on movies. And if you are a normal family and you might despair, and you might think that you're alone, and you might think that you're crazy, and everyone else is living this life, and you're missing out on something. But I'll tell you the truth: you're not missing out on it. It's them that are missing out. And you're not alone. There's a whole bunch of us. The majority of us are just normal folks with normal families, raising kids and having a good time. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's what's right. It's so exciting to see cable failing. It's so exciting to see all of these traditional outlets for media failing, and the popularity of YouTube channels, and to be able to turn on a camera in your backyard, or from your office, or from your kitchen, and reach thousands or millions of people, is starting to open people's eyes and awaken them to that. And I take it really serious. Like, this to me is a ministry. This is to show you guys, hey, you're not alone. You're not the only one suffering from struggles. You're not the only one that is thinking you're crazy because everything you hear and see is contrary to the way you're living. I think what most people, if you don't, it's so easy to be deceived. If you don't have an understanding and a belief in a higher power, and you don't understand what some people have called the great controversy, the controversy between who's right, God's law or the adversary, the devil, the prince of this world, that you don't see that struggle going on. We're caught in the middle of this, like a great chessboard, like a great theater, I think it was what Shakespeare said, that's taking place on this. The devil has said one thing, God has said the other, and the question is who's lying and who's telling the truth. And these people that are on the devil's side, I think the majority of them don't even know it. There are folks that understand, that make that decision to give themselves over to the prince of darkness, to give themselves over to evil, and they become soldiers in his battle. But there's also just as many people on the side of light, on the side of God's side, on the good side, that are fighting as well. But the majority of folks are in the middle, and they don't understand it because they don't know that this is actually playing and going on. So for normal folks like myself and like you guys that have families, the idea of pure evil, the idea that someone could be actively trying to destroy human life and to destroy people and to harm children is just unimaginable, because we don't think in that way. But those things are out there, and you have those people that are on the side of the adversary, that are entrenched in these organizations, media, newsprint, academia, all of that, and they're actively working to destroy your family. They're actively working to make you be afraid of things, to think that you're an outcast, to think that you're alone, but that's not the case. They're on the losing side, and we're on the winning side. And with the advent of YouTube and with the advent of the media, and for us to be able to communicate together and to support one another, even though we've never met, is starting. it's starting to crack those monoliths, and it's starting to change for the better. So a lot of folks are doom and gloom in your prepper communities, and everything's bad and everything's this and that. No, it's not. It's bad if you're on the side of the devil, because we know their fate. We know what that's going to happen. But um, we have a good God. We have a good God that knows what we have need of before we ask. We have a good God that is there and has offered us help whenever we need it. And we're on the victorious side. And it's starting to change. The tables are turning, and it's just exciting to see as we look at what's going on with the EU elections, and the whole thing, the whole deceit and all of the lies are starting to come apart, and it's exciting. So don't despair, and don't think that you're alone. Don't get down on yourself, or just think that nothing's as good as it used to be. It's getting better. It's changing. Families are starting to, especially, I'll close with this, Jack's generation is so excited. Generation X is where I came from, and then we have the millennials, and they didn't really do anything, and it seems that a lot of the political correctness and such is all coming out of that, and your social justice worries and all that. But Jack's generation is different. It's really, I haven't been aware of, I don't really, wasn't really immersed in it until, Jack, of course, he likes to play video games, so we play together in the evenings, and this has kind of exposed me to this younger group of generations, because we play online games together and such. And I am so encouraged by what I see. It's really interesting that even folks that profess not to be Christians, I'm taking this younger generation, how important the law of God is. You just watch someone that goes online and makes a video, or does something that where they try to cheat people out of money, or they cheat on their spouse or wife or girlfriend, or they do something that's dishonest in a fundraising deal or whatever. How people turn on them. And there's such a sense of justice, of right and wrong, and videos are up made, and this person did this. I like to see that, because you would think that if you believe some folks, that things are just getting worse and worse and worse, and in some situations they are, but it's a very small select group of people. And when I see these young people that are standing up for, hey, this is not right, and making a video about it, or hey, this person is dishonest, we need to hold them accountable, I think it's encouraging. I think it's very encouraging. So who knows what's going to happen, but I'm more excited for life. I am grateful to be born in this generation, this time period, to have access to you guys, to have access to all of this information. I think it's exciting. Jesus is coming, and the groundwork is being laid. And which side are you going to be on? So that's it. I'm done with my rant. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys on the next video.